Hello loves, it's that time of year again. It's 2018 spring wreath. I try to come up with this every year. Tried to share with you some ideas of how you can create a beautiful wreath that's not too hard but not too easy either, maybe a little challenging, but I give you some great instructions on how you can create your own or modify what you would like to have in your home. If you're interested to see how I create this wreath, stay tuned. Now I haven't bought anything new. I normally recycle all of my items. They're not permanently fixtured onto a wreath or anything like that, so I can recycle. Most of these are things that I have. Some of them are from Michael's, some of them are from Dollar Tree, might be a few here and there from AC Moore. So what do we have here? We'll start at the bottom. We have this from Dollar Tree, is a florist foam block. It's different this year. They divided them up in little squares now, I guess, where they could be easily applied to your craft. But you can see I've already started on a form for my wreath. So we have that, and then we have a ring that I purchased from either Michael's or AC Moore, can't remember. We have some floral picks there and some floral tape with some floral wire. These right here, I normally keep these when I clip them off flowers, the stems, so I can reuse them. Normally if I clip off normally leaves, if I clip them too short or they don't have a stem, because most of them, if they come off a vine or something, there is no stem, I attach them to these stems here that I cut from previous flowers and just glue them on, and they work very well. Up here on this side is a basket full of greenery that I will be using in this wreath. We have some beautiful colors here, this very light green or mint color leaf. We have some Dollar Tree greenery here, these branches. We have some more leaves, these big floral leaves. Can't tell you where they came from. They might have came off a vine or something like that that I didn't want anymore, so I just removed the leaves. We have some roses that I made picks out of them. I just cut those off of the bush and made picks. We have some flowers that you've seen several times that I use in my DIYs. We have branches down at the end there, and then my favorite flower, the hydrangeas. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I glued 4 of these pieces of foam, florist foam, together in a T, I guess you could say. And what I'm going to do is place it inside here and either adhere it with some glue or with florist pick. I think it would probably hold better with some glue because these flowers can get pretty heavy and I don't want it to fall through. So I'm going to glue this inside this ring here. So I'm going to glue right on the top in here and right in the corner, just on the corners where it's going to stick onto the wreath form. And you can see the glue there, right there on both corners there. And I did the same thing down at the bottom at these 2 corners. Now to create a hook to go on the back of my wreath, I applied a florist pen here that I got from Michael's or any florist shop that sells artificial flowers. And I just basically took a pen and glued the ends. These ends are very, very sharp here. As you can see, they're pretty sharp. And I just applied some hot glue at the end there and then pierced the foam with the pen. I don't know if you can see that. pierced the foam with the pen, and I made some room in between the wreath and the pen, so I can apply some florist wire, or you can just use this as your hook alone and just have a command hook or a nail just to hook this on the wall or wherever you're going to put it. If you're going to use it on a door hanger, then I will probably put some florist wire on here so you can apply it. So now we're going to start applying our florals and picks onto our wreath. Okay, so now we can either leave this like this, or we can use some moss or some kind of greenery to cover this, so you don't have to worry about spaces that you can see this green. I think I have enough greenery and picks to cover this fully, but just in case, I didn't show this in my supplies because this is optional. I have some green moss here, I guess you can call it, from the dollar store. And basically, if you come across spaces that in your wreath, you can just place this in between it or just glue it in so you won't see the wreath form. But have enough florals and picks to cover your wreath. Start in the center with our hydrangeas, and I brought also my wire cutters. The flower is already cut, but since this is so thin, I can cut it down some more. So we're going to do that. Okay, so we place our first flower here in the center. Well, it's not quite in the center, it's down below the center. This is the top of the wreath. And then here's what the cross section is. So it's right below the middle of the cross section. Because the reason I did this, I want to put this free because we're going to put some other things up here. So we're going to start the hydrangeas right down here in the bottom. We're going to take another one and we're going to put it right here in this corner. So we're going to place it in this corner here. Now, if you have only small hydrangeas, those will work just as well. I just only have the large ones, but the small ones would be perfect. Just make sure that you have other florals that you're going to place in your wreath because it won't be enough to make it full. So we have the bottom part. So here's the top. This is what it looks like. Okay, so now we are going to move this up so you can see what I'm doing. Down here is going to be our tail, and we're going to place florals down here and branches. So we're going to start with our floral branch here, and you want this to be long enough and the flowers to be just a little, not white, because these hydrangeas are white. You can use whatever color you want. But have, depending on how deep or how muted you want your colors, I wanted mine to be soft. So this is like a beige with a little touch of pink in here. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little touch of pink in the flower. And we're going to pierce this. Make sure that we know where our top is. We're going to pierce this straight up the bottom. So basically what I'm doing, now we want a long tail. See that? So it goes straight down the bottom just like that. Now you don't want a lot, just a few branches. You just want just a nice little waterfall of flowers here. Okay, now I think we need to add some greenery. We have our tans, we have a little bit of black and some brown. Now we're going to add these green branches from Dollar Tree. They come in a bunch. That's what it's come like, just like this. And I just peeled them off. So we're going to take pieces of that like this. You can see that. I'm going to take pieces of that like this, and we're just going to randomly stick them in here to bring in some color. Now, like I said, I like my color soft, so we'll have some greens and some off whites and white in here just to add some color and some texture. Now remember, we want to keep our shape. We want the long going down the center and the shorts on the side. So we want to keep that shape, and we want to integrate it inside of here because this is like background color. It's not up in the front or forefront. It's in the back of the waterfall. Just add some color back there. So let's get a little closer so you can see. We're going to start doing some detail work on some flowers here. So I have these roses that I pre-cut different sizes. Some are single, some are bunched, some have rosebuds on them. And I'm going to place them a little down in the tail here, but then I'm going to bunch some of them up here at the top. So we're going to take this single rose here, and we're just going to place it. I'm not going to tie it in yet. I'm just going to place it in here so I see how it looks. Now this is just try and error. So we're just placing these roses here in different areas, not permanently. I'm just placing them in here so I can see what it looks like. And then once I think I like how it looks, I will stick them in the form. Okay, so I think that would do it. So now I'm just going to stick them in here. That's how it looks so far. Now we are going to place some different kind of greenery here. We're going to go with some light colors. I have some light colored leaves that I can place in here. And I'm just placing them around where I think that some color variations would look nicely. So I'm starting to place some more of these light colored leaves around the form. So these roses, I'm adding those in here as I go. I don't have a plan. Most of you know who have seen me do these on many occasions. I just go what it feels. And then if it looks right, then that's great. If not, then I just do it over again until it gets to a point that I actually like it. So I don't really have a plan per se. I know what I'm looking for and how I want it to go, but I don't have a plan of what it's going to look like. So I'm just basically not winging it, but it's a plan wing it. If that make any sense. So we're just placing some roses around the perimeter of the wreath, and we adding some of these leaves. It's getting kind of full. Okay, so now I have these big leaves here. Now these go on the outer perimeter. These huge leaves, they are going to go on the outer perimeter of the wreath form. Well, that would do it, my friends, for this year 2018 spring summer wreath. I hope I've given you a lot of tips and tricks that you can use toward your wreath for this summer. Until then, stay inspired, and if you have any comments, please put below. Until the next time, see you on the next video. Smooches!